All right, guys, so chicken brine. Cocktail's made, ready to go. Very simple, very easy, stuff that you can get easily at the store. And again, you can make it ahead of time. You can brine any meat you want. I wouldn't go with red meat, but you know, anything that tends to be on the drier side. I've used it for duck before. I've used it for pheasant, quail, chicken, obviously, pork. But I'm just going to show you guys real quick. I don't know what I'm doing, so just bear with me. I have a half chicken here. Local, of course. I always rinse my chicken, no matter what. Try to rinse it off, just get rid of all the impurities, and something I learned down in Georgia from one Wellington Howard Daly, and just to clean it out a little bit and just give it a good scrub, give it a good bath. I'm gonna let it kind of dry and sit for a minute. But for the brine itself, I'm gonna bring this over here. Very simple again, but very effective. So right now I have on this plate here, this is sea salt, this is sugar. I have some peppercorns that are cracked, some bay leaves, and a little crushed red chili flake. I also, so that's kind of like the basic of the dry ingredients. I'm just gonna show you real quick because I always make fun of the TV shows for this. But you know how they always have the setup of the fresh herbs and the fresh veggies all over, and they got everything's in its place. They don't actually do that. They have people that do that for them. But I thought it'd be funny. So I have a lemon here. I'm just gonna cut it in half. You don't have to squeeze it, seed it, or anything, because again, this is kind of like a marinade. A brine is like a marinade. So I'm just gonna put this into a pot, just like that. As far as the ratio for the sugar to salt, I like using the sea salt. It just has I think it has a better flavor, and I just like the way it feels between my fingers, honestly. But I do about 65% salt, 35% sugar. Into the pot it goes with the lemon, just like that. And then I put in all the dry ingredients. And then I also add 1 onion that you don't have to peel. If it's dirty, peel it or wash it. I'm gonna cut that up real quick. And I just cut it in half, pretty much. Here, I'm gonna lower this down here. Let's see a little better. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. There we go. Good. So again, salt, sugar went into the pot. Chicken's drying out a little bit. We're gonna cut off. I like to peel. You don't have to peel it, but I like to peel it because I just don't like to have to deal with the peel later on. So I'll peel it off. And then I just put, this is a big onion. I mean, if you have a smaller onion, I mean, this is a massive onion. So I'm just gonna put half of it in. Just gonna cut it up a little bit into the pot. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna use it for my steak later. And then back to my beautiful setup of herbs here. I put in a little bit of fresh thyme. I have no Ina Garten, but I could pick my own little herbs out of my little thing here. A little bit of rosemary. And then water. So what I'm gonna do is, this pot is a 8-quart pot. I'm gonna fill it up about 3/4 of the way. Let that boil for about, well, bring it to a boil and then shut it off. So let it sit for about 10 minutes after you shut it off. And then what you're gonna do is fill up the rest of the pot with ice. So it's about 3/4 brine. I'm sorry, I just messed up. 1/4 brine to 3/4 ice. So you want to make sure you have enough room left in there to fill it up with ice. What the ice does is it kind of dilutes the brine a little bit. It also chills it down, and then you can put your meat in pretty much, you know, after you put the ice in. But we'll get to that point in a little bit. 1/4 brine, 3/4 ice. So fill it up, whatever size pot you use. But I mean, if you want a recipe, I can send it to you. I just do it by eye. I do everything by eye. A lot of people get irritated with that, but I don't care. But that's just how I do it. I write it down if you want. But anyways, I'm gonna bring this to a boil on the stove, and then in the meantime, I'm gonna listen to the Jonas Brothers, and I'm also gonna get my steak going for my dinner tonight. This is for tomorrow. Something probably important. I always like to brine things at least 24 hours. I mean, you can do it for 12, you can do it for 10. It's not, a brine isn't really ideal to do for like an hour or two like a marinade is. A brine, you really want to get into that meat and just kind of break down that protein structure in the meat. It helps make it tender, very, very, very juicy. So I'm gonna put it on the stove, maybe do some dancing. I don't know, we'll see.